Shanahan and Andy McNamara.
Thank you, Ray. Brian, the Buffalo attack runs through scoring champ Dane Smith, but despite the Rush focusing in on him in game one, he still had 6 points.
Yeah, and I'll show you a couple of examples of why he is so dangerous. Previous 2 games, 38 points between the 3 of them.
Shanny, Buffalo may have the top offense, but Saskatchewan has the stingiest defense in the NL. And Shanny, we're set up for a photo finish once again.
Well, I hope we have the kind of finish we had last week, because this is shaping up to be a great game, and you know, this is what you want in the championship.
Third quarter coming up. Do not go anywhere. Game 2, NLL Champions Cup Final, as we see the sun setting in beautiful Saskatoon. You're watching the NLL on TSN. The South Center here in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. Andy McNamara alongside Brian Shanahan. You have a look at the first half stats there. Saskatchewan with a slight edge in shots.
Yeah, we usually don't put up posts, but there were so many shots that hit the post in that game.
Here are Brian Shanahan and Andy McNamara.
Thanks, Claude. Brian, both of these clubs are stacked with past NLL Champions Cup winners. What are your expectations between these two rivals in this East Division Finals with so much playoff experience between them?
Well, it's going to be a fantastic playoff game, and you said it. These guys have a great rivalry. Toronto's won 6 championships. Rochester has won 5, including the last 3 in a row. So these two teams are really battling for the all-time NLL supremacy.
Let's look at Toronto's offense, and it has been near unstoppable at times this season, in large part because of Josh Sanderson and Rob Hellier.
Yeah, they've had great season. Rob Hellier had a breakout year at the end of last year and continued this year till he had an injury, but still pretty good stats for just 14 games.
We cannot overlook the return of Captain Colin Doyle. Back in the lineup, how is his return going to affect this? Thanks, Claude. Moving, Shanny, to the 3-time defending NLL champion Rochester Nighthawks, known for their defense, but they can attack too, and that's led by Cody James. Commissioner Nick Sakevich. Nick, congratulations on a successful first year. Tell us about what it was like.
Thanks. It was a whirlwind for sure. It was incredible. We had a great season.
You mentioned selling the game. If somebody new to lacrosse saying, hey, I've heard of it, don't know much about it, what would be your elevator pitch?
Fastest game on 2 feet. I mean, it is dynamic. It's fun to watch. High scoring, high shot.
Live from the Air Canada Centre in downtown Toronto, it's the NLL on Fox Sports Go. I'm Andy McNamara, alongside Steven Stamp, as we get set for a budding East Division rivalry between the Toronto Rock and the Georgia Swarm. The Rock looking for their first win of the season. The Swarm's only victory came against these Toronto Rocks. And Stamper, this one has very interesting tiebreaker consequences when it comes to the division.
Well, it does. Toronto is already getting themselves in a bit of a hole. Rochester, with 2 wins against the Rock last weekend, or the weekend before, have the tiebreaker edge already. If Georgia can win tonight, they will have the tiebreaker over the Rock as well, which means there's 2 teams the Rock are chasing who only have to look for a tie against Toronto to have the edge in the playoff race. So it's not something they want to have happen.
No, you cannot drop the 0-5 in the National Lacrosse League. Absolutely not. We broke this in the season opener of the Rock.
Yes.
Great reviews. Trending worldwide. Reviews. We're going to bring it back. Stamper's Edge, where we give the edge to each opponent on each part of the game. Let's begin with goaltenders. Who has the edge between the Swarm and the Rock tonight?
You would think Brandon Miller, edge Georgia.
Defense, interesting side of things here, because the Rock, we know they have the experience, they have the toughness, and 12 goals given up each game is not a lot when it comes to the NLL.
No.
But they still have to tighten up.
They do.
McNamara.
Thanks, Claude. Shanny, players to watch tonight. Let's begin with the visiting Toronto Rock, and the 22-year-old phenom, Rob Hellier, leads the league in scoring. He's been tearing it up.
Oh, he sure has. And you said he's so far this year.
And has really capitalized with the absence of Captain Colin Doyle and Garrett Billings stepping up there. When you look at tonight's matchup, Shanny, it's really a showcase of the elite, because 4 of the top 5 scorers in the NLL are playing tonight.
Yeah, no surprise. Toronto's the 2nd highest scoring team in the league, and there's some good firepower in this Buffalo team too.
And moving to the hosting Buffalo Bandits, a guy who does it a little bit differently, but just as dominant, Ryan Benesh.
He sure is, and it shouldn't be.
Here's to Brian Shanahan and Andy McNamara.
Thanks, Claude. Players to watch, Shandy. Let's begin with the home Toronto Rock. Rob Hellier and Josh Sanderson get most of the love, most of the headlines, but we can't overlook Brett Hickey and his 30-goal season. What a great story. And Shanny, moving to the visiting Edmonton Rush, Mark Matthews, first overall pick in 2012 at 6'5", having himself another phenomenal season.
Yeah, and if we said Hickey's a surprise, there's no something out of nothing.
Short, compact shot, but it's like a cannon, Shanny.
Oh, it
Just
sure
out of
does.
nowhere.
Just uses the wrist and he puts it in.
We'll take a look at, this is an interesting stat, the points per game here. You look at Rob Hellier, Sean Evans. Division, as you can see, 9-1 record. The Buffalo Bandits trying to keep pace with the Rochester Nighthawks here. First game of a home-and-home in Toronto at the Air Canada Centre tomorrow. And you see Minnesota and then the New England Black Wolves pulling up the rear in the East Division. In the West, really tight here, Shannon.
Yeah, it sure is tight. Calgary, who went 0-6 to start the season, is only 2 wins behind every other team.
Yeah.
And I bet you'll see them go on a roll now.
Absolutely. Too much talent to keep the Roughnecks down. But, hey, it's really anybody's division there. But the Toronto Rock and Buffalo Bandits here tonight. The Rock up 7-5 at the half. And, Shanny, interestingly enough, when these two teams squared off in the Rock's home opener, it was Buffalo up 7-5.
Yeah, absolutely. But these two teams, it's the way they play. It goes back and forth. A lot of ebb and flow to this game.
He got here tonight with his couple of goals and an assist. And, Shanny, when you talk about Sanderson career-wise, and we saw that beautiful behind-the-back pass in the first half.
Absolutely. He's now jumped ahead of Colin Doyle to be the #2 all-time assist behind somebody else named John Tavares.
Not
so
bad.
We've got 2 legends playing today, and both of them have performed. Josh Sanderson at 38 and Tavares at 46.
Unbelievable. And you look at